Well, hello there, everyone. Hope you're doing outstanding. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. Make sure you talk to your father and tell him Happy Father's Day. Anyway, today is Sunday, June the 19th, in the year 2022. Hopefully, you're doing outstanding. I'm doing pretty good myself. Anyway, as always, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a CPA. I am just mazske. I talk on various topics about how I've been successful being a low-paying employee to becoming a near multi-millionaire. And something I'm going to talk about today is how, hopefully, I'm going to be a lot different than almost any other investor you know. Okay? What I'm going to talk about is growing your family fortune, your family legacy, your family wealth, whatever you want to call it. In recent times, I've read two different books. Several years ago, I read this book and I just started rereading it again. It's called Family Fortunes. It says down here, I don't know if you can probably see it, but it's How to Build Family Wealth and Hold On to It for 100 Years. It's written by father and son Bill Bonner and Will Bonner. I believe this was published in 2012, 2013, something like that. I read it, like I said, I picked it up a couple years ago. I read it. I enjoyed parts of it. I remember it from back then. But it wasn't like my favorite book, but it planted a seed. I'm just looking at the front page here. Yeah, copyright 2012, sorry. But it planted the seed. It got me thinking about it. And I can't remember when I read it. I think I read it when I was just getting into real estate investing. So I really didn't think too much about it. All right. The other month I attended the Ecker Land and Acquisition Mineral Rights Conference up on Amelia Island in Florida, kind of off the coast over from Jacksonville and Daytona. Beautiful place there. Omni Hotel. We stayed there. And I met an author there. He sat in front of me actually for a while and we got in a nice conversation. I didn't realize he was an author until later. But his name is David McVanney, I think it is. McAlvany. It's called The Intentional Legacy. The Intentional Legacy. I can read that. It looks like I've worn the cover, just the title page a little bit. But anyway, I read that book recently, and it's a good book too. It's, it touches on a topic I don't really talk about too much, which is religion. It goes a little deep into that for me, but that's okay. Okay, it still has a good message in there, so it's worth reading. I am starting again. You can see I'm a fifth of the way through, a tenth of the way through it, the Family Fortunes book, and so far I think I like it better than I did a couple years ago. Just the beginning, first chapter or two. So hopefully it'll turn out to be very well. But something I don't hear talked about on a lot of channels, on a lot of real estate channels, this is what I hear. Oh, you create family wealth, you create your family legacy, buy real estate to start a legacy, do this to start a legacy. What I don't hear though, and I don't watch every YouTube channel, but I don't hear YouTubers talk to your children about financial stuff. Talk to your children about what you are doing. All right? And let me back up just real quick. If you are the average American who does nothing, except maybe you have a 401k at your workplace or you have a small investment in stocks, okay, you're not on the path to create family wealth, family fortune. Why? Because I was thinking about this. I was thinking even myself, if all I did was stick with stocks and I accumulated $1 million, $2 million, whatever it might be, once I retired, I would start spending that down. I would sell to have money to live on. We'd have market downturns at times. I would still have to take money out to live on. Unless I had a substantial amount, odds are, and most Americans don't, they're going to spend the money down as the years go on. It's going to trickle down to be almost nothing, or it's a small amount, or even if it's $500,000, $1 million, and that person passes away and their spouse passes away, and their heirs get that money. For a lot of times, it's probably divvied up. Okay, it's $1 million. There's 2 kids. That's $500,000 family. Okay, that's a chunk of money. It might help someone to buy a new house, buy a new boat, buy a new truck, buy an SUV, buy whatever it is they buy. They don't normally, for the most part, invest it and grow it. Okay, some folks would. I would if someone gave it to me. But with real estate, it's different. And I don't hear other YouTubers talk about, I've heard YouTubers talk about buying, Brandon Turner tells a story about buying a quadplex, I think it is, 4 units, for his child, I think it was daughter, when she was born. And he said the plan was to basically pay it off by the time she was 18 years old and then either they'd have options, either sell it to pay for her college, or the cash flow would pay for her college, or there would just be options, and it'd be his daughter's property. Okay, his kids I think are still young. I don't really watch Bigger Pockets anymore. I don't watch their videos. I know Dion has kids, Millennial Mike has kids, Michael Zuber has kids, Coach Carson has kids. I don't hear them talking about this. I don't know. I know some of them personally, but I don't know all the details about their life. I don't know how well they've taught their children. With my boys, I know I talked to them about stocks as they became teenagers. I don't know because I would talk about, hey, we're traveling, we got to stop somewhere, and I might say something like, well, we need to get a bite to eat. Is there a Starbucks around? Is there a Texas Roadhouse, whatever it's called, around? Is there a BJ's restaurant around? Or something that I own shares in. I was like, well, if we go eat there, we got to eat somewhere. We might as well spend the money in an investment I have, because that may trickle back to me just a teeny tiny bit. Like, oh, maybe my share would be worth a fraction of a penny more or something. I don't know. So I would do something like that. All right. So they started hearing about stocks. When they were both like 18 years old and in college, they both had a stipend. They went to the United States Coast Guard Academy, and they both opened a Roth IRA, and I helped teach them about stock investing. And they got started when they were 8. I think the oldest might have been 19 when he started, and the youngest was 18 when he started. Okay. By the time they graduated, I bought my first rental property in January 2017. My oldest son graduated from the academy in 2015. My youngest son graduated in 2019. So my oldest son was already an officer in the Coast Guard, investing in stocks on his own. And by the time I bought my first rental property, it took me a little bit to get going, like it does with most people. So by the time my youngest son graduated in 2019, I had 7, 8, 9 units. So I'm sure I was talking to him about this because we rode together from Virginia as far as Colorado, where I had to get out to fly back to the DC area for a conference, Fool Fest, Motley Fool Conference. And my son then continued on to the West Coast, California. And a buddy of his flew down and met him somewhere past, in Colorado, met him there. And then his buddy rode with him the rest of the way. So, but the more I get into real estate, the more I realize, wait a second, when I pass away, if I still have all my rental properties, they will go to my heirs. I have 2 heirs, 2 sons. They will go to my 2 sons. Neither one are married yet, okay? So as of right now, it'll split 50-50, basically everything I have 50-50 to my 2 sons, unless I donate something to some charity or something else, okay? But at the same time, let me back up just a bit. They both now are investing in rental property. My oldest son is 29 years old. He has 5 rental units now, 5 rental houses. Okay. He's in the Coast Guard. He's out at sea right now. He was as far over as Japan, I think, on a boat. But he's coming back now. But he'll be out on the water for another month or so. It's been a long trip. So it makes it harder for him to buy houses. But when he gets back, I think he says he has enough money to buy probably 2 more. So he'd be up to 7 then. My youngest son, he's only 24. He just recently, a couple months ago, bought his first house. And so he has 1 rental house. And he's told me, he's young and he's not as much into it, but he's like, Dad, I want to give it about a year to see how it works, how it plays out. And then I'll decide if I want to continue on with this. So say in a year, he's 25. And hopefully he'll decide, buy more, get his second one, get his third one, because he's starting young, so that's good. But I don't hear about other YouTubers talking about helping their children learn how to invest. I'm not buying these properties for my kids. I did not buy the stocks for my kids. I did not give my kids stocks. I did not give them houses. I gave them education and taught them how to do it themselves. I do hear YouTubers talk about building their portfolio so when they die, they'll give it to their kids. I've had other folks tell me that they want to get real estate so when they die, they give it to their kids. Why not back up a bit and teach your children how to invest? Why not go with a game plan? I've always talked about mindset in a lot of videos. Investing is a mindset. Get a mindset, get a plan, get a goal, formulate a plan. Look at your own family. Like say it's me and my spouse, and we have 2 kids. I'm going to meet my kids, and we're going to sit down together in another month or 2. I'm going to visit the West Coast where they're at, and we're going to talk. I've already talked to both of them individually on the telephone. We're going to talk together, the 4 of us, about what we as a family can do. We're blood. We're connected. We're a family. So as I grow my portfolio and I grow my wealth, they can grow their portfolios and grow their wealth. Hopefully I stick around for another 25, 30, 40 years, so my portfolio will keep growing. Hopefully I don't spend it all on boats and docks and toys, but I will have fun in life. But as I grow it, my portfolio, they're growing theirs. So if the day comes, when the day comes, if nothing changes and my wealth between my wife and myself goes 50-50 to the kids, whenever that day comes, their portfolios will spike up. They need not to know 2 things. Not only how to manage their own portfolios, they need to work together as brothers. That they formulate a good plan, because maybe they're both married by then, they have spouses. They need to formulate a good plan, bring their spouses on board, because hopefully they choose wisely and get spouses that have the mindset, they're frugal. And if they have children, raise their children in a way that they learn about investing, they learn about finances. They're not given everything to where they're spoiled. Yes, if my boys have income and high income and wealth, they're going to provide for their kids. As a parent, you can't not give nice stuff to your kids, but you don't have to spoil them. It's a fine line to walk. But you got to teach your kids. Teach your kids about investing. Because if I'm still alive, I will be giving my grandkids, if I ever have them, financial books from the time they're 5 or 6 years old probably. I will try to plant that seed to get them going. But then if they do have kids, as they get older, if they're trained to think, and if they have the right personality traits where they can do it, then they can be brought into the fold of managing the family money, is what I'm trying to get to. So it'll start with me and my spouse. We may never get high up there with our wealth. We're small potatoes in the big scheme of investing, but we're bigger than a lot of average Americans. All right. But no matter how much we grow, the seeds are planted with my 2 boys, and they're growing theirs already. Younger than I was. Bought my first when I was 49. They bought theirs in their 20s. It's a big difference. But then they will get, say, at least 50-50 of what we have, or maybe it's 40 and 40. Maybe something 20% is donated to charity or something. I don't know, or something else. But anyway, they will be given a helping hand that I didn't get. I want to make sure, and I know my kids, they're not spoiled. They're not going to say, "Oh, Dad died and now I got 20 houses or I got 30 more houses. I'm rich. I'm just going to go party it up." That's not them. They're not going to do that. All right. But the hard part is most family wealth, if someone hits it big, the easiest way to get super rich is to start a business. Be Bill Gates, be Jeff Bezos, be John D. Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, these different, start a successful business. Most Americans are not going to do that, not to get that wealthy. Any working American can start buying real estate. And even if they stay small and get 2 or 3, if they teach their children how to do it, and those kids inherit it, and they build upon it, you see where I'm getting at? It's the snowball effect. Maybe you don't have kids. Maybe you don't care about this topic. But still, grow your own wealth. Do what you have to do to protect it. Trusts and LLCs and that sort of thing. And even if you plan to never have kids, put your properties in trust and LLCs to protect it so no one takes it from you. And they figure out a plan of what happens to your assets if you and your spouse die, if you don't have any other kids. Do you have nephews and nieces? Do you know me? Hey, you give it to me. I'm just joking. But anyway, you see what I'm saying? So Millennial Mike watches my channel when he has time. Dion sometimes watches my channel. Zuber doesn't watch it. Coach Carson doesn't watch it. But they need to start educating their kids, because you start when they're young. You can start when they're 3 or 4 years old, planting the seed, You don't dig on it and harp on it. By the time they're 5 or 6 or 7, they need to have a better working knowledge of investing than the average American does. All right? All right. Enough on that topic. So once again, just to wrap this up, 2 different books, similar but very different. The Intentional Legacy by David McAlvany and Family Fortunes by Bill Bonner and Will Bonner. All right, good enough. This got a little long, so I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Mazske is signing out.